Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of the North Star podcast. Today we have Jesse Gill on the podcast. So I'm just going to let Jesse Gill just talk about what he does and why he's here, and we'll go from there.
Is this where
That's where you go in, bro.
Yeah.
That's where you start, man. You tell me about yourself. Tell me who you are.
My name's Jesse Gill. I'm a real estate agent in Abbotsford and like all the surrounding areas here in the Fraser Valley. I've been doing it for about 8 years, and yeah, that's who I am.
I wanted to have you on this because I know a lot of people nowadays are fearful of how the market and how things are shifting, especially in BC here. It's a little bit different than other provinces. But what would you kind of your piece of advice for like first time home buyers or somebody that is trying to get into the market? Because I know it's not the easiest thing right now.
It's definitely not the easiest. Just save your money. Like realistically, just save. It's hard right now, right? And I definitely feel for a lot of the first time home buyers. Like you got to save quite a bit. Yeah. I don't think it's anything to be necessarily scared of, to get into the market. There's no right or wrong time for it. It's just you have to see what your personal finances look like, and you have to see if you can support your monthly payments. That's really what it boils down to, right? So if you can support the monthly payments and financially it makes sense for you, there's really no right or wrong time for it, right? So
do you is there like a certain amount that you would say is a good place to start with how much money you can invest? Like obviously, the more the better. But what would be like, I don't even personally as a first time home, I don't even know what the minimum I need. I don't even know like where I would even start. So like pretend you're talking to someone like in my case where they have no clue where to even go. Like how would you even go through the process of it all?
So I guess like the first thing would be like when someone calls me and say, hey, look, we're first time home buyers. We're looking to get our first property. I want to have a consultation with them, right? So we figure out, well, what are their wants? What are their needs? And then from that point, I ask questions like, okay, well, what does their financing look like? How much money do you have saved right now? Just questions like that, right? And then I would connect them with my mortgage broker or a mortgage broker of their own, because we have to figure out what somebody's financial position is at the end of the day, right? What their borrowing power is. And the only way we're going to know that is if they sit down with a broker. Okay. Major factors that are going to kind of indicate of how much you can afford would be, well, how much debt are you carrying right now? What's your monthly income? What's your debt to service ratio? And that's something that a broker is going to help you out with.
Okay.
Right.
And is there a certain amount that you need down before you?
Yeah, sorry. That was the other part of it. So if you're looking at a property, anything less than 500,000, you can put down 5%.
Okay, so that's like the minimum. Minimum. Okay.
Yeah, bare minimum.
Okay.
Right, is 5%. Anything over $1 million, you have to put down 20%.
Okay, so that's like a requirement you have to. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's no way around that.
Okay.
If you're investing, doesn't matter. You got to put down 20%.
Okay.
Right.
What's the shift right now with interest rates and obviously you don't know what way or what, but what's like an educational guess that you see that's going to happen in the next year or so with how things are shifting?
I think things are going to level out, right? It's definitely going to take time. We're at the highest rates right now. And over the last few months now, things are starting to kind of remain stable. So I think the way that it's heading is probably within the next year and a half, you'll slowly start to see rates come down.
Okay.
It's not going to happen all at once. Usually it'll go down like 0.25 at a time. To say that we're going to see rates again for like 1% or 1.5%, I don't think we're going to see that. I personally don't feel like we're going to see any of that. So it might come down to just a guess, but like 4% probably, okay. 3.5% in the next few years. And I think it's just going to taper off from there. That's my personal.
Do you think it's going to go up at all from where it is currently right now?
The rates? I hope not.
Me neither. Realistically, I hope not either. Holy.
It's already hard as it is
for
a lot of people, man. Yeah. People are at their breaking points right now. So I really hope it's not going to go any higher. I doubt it though.
I actually had a question that somebody asked me in person because I'd posted on my story about that I would have you on, and they were actually curious about how many people do you see currently right now that have had to sell because of the interest rates? Like how detrimental is that currently right now? Because I know there's a lot of people coming up that they won't be able to afford their payments because of the higher interest rate. Like, are you seeing a lot of people?
Me personally, not a lot.
Okay.
Like personally, I have heard of the stories and stuff,
Yeah.
but see, the bank usually has a thing that's called a stress test. So when you go and get your financing done, let's say the bank rate is at 3% or 4% or whatever it is, they're going to test you at a rate that's 2% higher, right? So they're going to test you at
Like how would you manage at this percentage?
exactly, right?
Okay.
So it's kind of like a safeguard to say, okay, well, if interest rates do go up, this person still is going to be in a decent enough position. So they've been doing that for the last little bit. So I personally haven't experienced this yet.
Yeah, okay.
Right. But the thing is, a lot of renewals are coming up. So a lot of the people that were at those low interest rates are at 1.9% or whatever it is, they're going to be renewing now within the next year. How that looks, I don't know, because their payments definitely will be going up.
If you had to take a guess, do you think a lot of people have to sell at this point?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
Just you think it's more of a fear, kind of what the media and all these things are kind of putting out there, like it's not actually as bad as it seems, or do you think it kind of is?
I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be.
Okay.
Maybe that's just my personal thing. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I definitely feel it. Right. Like,
well, you own your own home. So.
I do. Yeah. So it's just kind of like,
you know how it feels. For sure.
100%. Right. And like I've got a condo there as well that has, I had a 1.9% interest rate on it. It says 7.25.
Jeez.
So, I'm right there with anybody that, has purchased because I'm in that same position. But I think there's a fear to that as well. Like with just like the interest rates being so high, but it just, I don't know, everything just kind of works out.
Yeah. I think I think for my, I guess, demographic or age group, I think it's just getting something, right?
Yeah.
Like I know that's been a conversation. I would say I'm in a little bit of a different position than, some of my friends. Like I own a few businesses. I'm very entrepreneurial based. So,
Yeah.
I've already thought of these things, but I definitely have friends that are still working like, either a minimum wage job or they're starting out a new job. They've finished school now, and they're trying to look at this stuff. And I think that's where that fear is that you'll never have the opportunity to. And I think basis off of that, would you say that as the years go on, do you think there'll be more opportunities to buy cheaper options, or there's going to be different programs for people to have to be available to open up their
cheaper options? I highly doubt it. Right? Like, what goes up, it stays there, right? Yeah. Like, it might come down a little bit, but to say that it's just going to come down completely, I highly doubt it, right? I think as a first timer, or really anyone that's just trying to get their foot in the market, is don't start small. Start with that 1-bed condo.
Yeah, don't buying $1 million or $2 million house kind of thing. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Right? Like start small. And then within a couple of years, you've built enough into this, thing that you've bought, and it's gained value. And, in time you start leveling up, right? You sell that off, you get into a townhouse, right? Or you get into a 2-bedroom condo, and then you sell that and you get into the townhouse. And then eventually, before you know it, you're in a home, right? I think that's the only way to get ahead. But if you've got your hopes set that you're going to buy a $1.5 million property tomorrow, right, and you're working minimum wage and you've got like $10 in savings, it's not going to happen, right? Like you have to work towards the smaller goal, and then eventually the larger ones will line up.
Do you, when you started being a real estate agent versus you as a real estate agent now, how has your mindset switched on when you have a conversation with someone and you sit down with them?
I don't know. That's a hard one.
You've probably never been asked that, have you?
No, no.
Like, have you shifted any kind of views, or do you feel a little bit more for people? Like, when you start something, you don't really understand completely the
I
whole
guess
side of it.
I guess the thing to that is I've actually grown with a lot of my clients. You know what I mean? So like when I first started off, like I've been doing this now for 8 years.
Yeah.
I was in my 20s when when I got into this, and a lot of my clients at that time were first time home buyers.
Mm.
So I kind of work with them, and I kind of understood where they were in their buying journey, essentially, right?
Okay.
But now as time has kind of progressed, I've bought properties now as well, and it's just kind of as things progress, my clients are growing right along with me as well.
Mm.
So maybe I can advise them a little bit better just because I've walked a lot of those steps now.
Yeah.
And a lot of the first time buyers getting into it, maybe because I have walked those steps, I can kind of guide them a little bit better. Whereas 8 years ago, maybe I wasn't skilled enough to do that, possibly.
Is it something that, because I can imagine for a lot of people, there's a lot of fear, right? When they start to buy it, like when they're buying their first. So
of course,
how do you level out someone? How do you like have that conversation with them to make them reassured? Like how has that changed too for you?
Just being smarter with money, I think, has changed, right? I guess when someone is very nervous about buying or getting a home and having this mortgage or whatever it is, you have to be real with your finances.
Yeah.
You can't be in la la land and be like, hey man, I'm gonna go buy this house and
not think of the consequences
and not think about what's happening. So for me, it's kind of like talking with your client, making sure they understand what they're doing, understanding what their financial situation looks like. Right? Can you afford these monthly payments?
Can you actually
can you physically afford it and then
yeah.
afford your car payment and your way of life and whatever it is? Like, I think that's the thing, right? So as long as you're real with the numbers and you like you're totally honest with it, I think you're fine.
Do you I'm really curious actually, based off of kind of the fear around buying, but also to the person who comes to you to ask for advice, are there a lot of times where you find that you kind of have to push them to make the choice? Like, I think a lot of times, even for me, when there's like a huge financial decision I like, going to someone that I trust. Like, how do you make that client feel like they can trust you? Like, what kind of things that you do to build that relationship with them?
Number one, don't lie to them, right? Don't give them a sense of like false hope or whatever it is. You have to be completely honest with them, right? And it's just and it just goes back to it. It's just understanding the numbers and understanding their numbers, and then making sure that they understand it as well. Right. So I think that's a large part of it. And it's just helping people understand of what that is. I don't think there's anything that I'm not a pushy person. Like, you can ask anyone.
Like, you won't force them to like, you have to buy, right? Like,
no. I'm not holding a gun to somebody's head and being like, hey man, sign this document and like you're buying this house. No, right. It's at the end of the day, it's the consumer's decision to purchase the home. And all we're doing is facilitating that and working with their finances and working with a broker to make sure that everything is good, right? That they're not going to be put in a harsh position.
So how do you like, this is a very different industry, because my industry is I see someone like every single week, right?
Yeah.
Like, for you guys, for real estate, like realtors, like, you might not see someone for another 8 years when they want to sell. Like, how do you how is there any retention stuff that you guys do? Like events, like what do you guys do to kind of keep in contact with your people?
Everyone does things differently.
Okay.
You like, there's some agents that probably will not even contact their clients.
Like, not even,
right?
like, bat
not
an eye
once, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the good agents and a lot of the top producers, they do things like events. They'll call people on their birthdays, write handwritten cards, Just certain things like that, right? And just be that voice for somebody, right? Be that person that, when a homeowner calls you with a question, you can answer it, right? So
have you done anything like
Oh, yeah.
what do you like what's your specialty? Like
I
what
don't
do you
know, man. I can't. I mean, those are trade secrets that we're going to be talking about, right? I don't know if I can disclose any of that.
Can you give like one that you like to do, like to keep a connection?
No, you know what? There's no magic solution.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's no magic thing.
Yeah.
There's no one thing that you're gonna do that all the like
Yeah,
your
for
past
sure.
clients or whatever.
Yeah.
It's me personally every day, and a lot of my clients know this. I write handwritten cards.
Oh, cool.
So if you've ever done any kind of business with me, you will get a birthday card from me.
Yeah.
I personally sit down and I write them. I'll show you.
Yeah,
leave
I
as
would love
well.
to. Yeah.
But I personally handwrite the cards. Anniversary cards, I always write those.
Cool. Like when they bought the house?
Yeah, when they bought the house.
Oh, cool.
I do, I'll call randomly to make sure that
Yeah.
everything's okay, make sure that they're still enjoying their house. And
Yeah.
if there's anything that I be doing, emails and all that kind of stuff, man.
Do you find that has really helped you keep the people that you have around?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I like, to be honest, I don't do a whole lot of advertising. Barely any. Someone asked me that too. They're like, "Oh man, you must spend so much money on advertising." I'm like, yeah, I do, right? But I actually don't. Like, I would say 75% of my clients are either repeat clients or the referrals from my past clients.
And do you like working like that a little bit better than?
Way better.
Yeah.
Way
I bet a referral client is a lot easier to.
100%. They already
Yeah.
like you. They already trust you, right? They've already got someone that's worked with you
That trust them.
that trusts them, right? So that level of trust is already there, right? Whereas someone new, I'd be working with them with a little while, like a little while, right? So definitely a lot easier.
Well, I think it's really important to find somebody that you trust, but also find someone that cares, right?
100%.
Because like I said, it is such a different industry where it's like they're not making constant purchases with you,
No.
right? Like
No.
it's like literally a big payment, and maybe 10 years down the road they make another
Yeah.
big investment kind of thing, right? So I've always been curious on how, because it's so different than my industry, right? Like it's so different where in that case, and I've always been curious on how to like almost make sure that they're okay and things like that. But I guess it just really comes down to showing you care and that you like actually want the best situation for them.
To be
right?
honest, you just have to be genuine.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Yeah.
I think people see through the shit,
Yeah.
right? Like it's if somebody's being fake, you can see right through it.
Yeah. Like they just want the sale to get your money. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyone can see that. Right. And I like what I tell all my clients, I say, look, I don't care if you buy today. I don't care if you buy tomorrow. It could be next week. It could be 10 years. I don't care if you buy at all. Right. Like it makes no difference. But it's just giving them that level of I guess trust and quality, and make sure that they are comfortable. And I think that's just the name of it, right? Like you have to be genuine. And I think you just have to be honest with people.
I think it goes in a lot of fields.
It goes with everything, man. It
Yeah,
just like everything in life, pretty much.
Yeah.
You just have to be honest, and
Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
What is let's say you have someone that wants to buy a house and they're looking, let's say they want to move in, I don't know, let's say May 1st. Let's say. How
Yeah.
long is the process? Like, I don't even know how long the process is to get everything done. Like, what's a typical process to even buy a home? Like,
Okay.
like, can you give me let's say I'm like, hey Jesse, like I
You wanna
call
buy
you
this
out of the
place?
blue.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, hey Jesse, I'm looking at this place. This is what I want to do. Like, where do we even start?
I just say, hey, sign here, it's yours, right? That's it.
I trust Jesse so much. I don't even have to look at the place.
Just sign, right? Now you're stuck in this mortgage payment. Then you're gonna blame me for the rest of your life. But no, I mean the process would be this, right? Like you either contact me or your broker or whoever it is, and we'll have that initial consultation of whatever your wants and needs are.
Okay.
Once we figure that out, we have to sit you down with a broker, no matter what. It's better to do it up front than later on.
Okay, I see. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Once we figure out what your financial situation looks like, the broker says, hey, you can go shopping up to $1 million, let's say.
And you can get money if you need, like you can get
Yeah.
a loan payment for that
Yeah.
much.
And the beauty of it is once we have it figured out beforehand, so let's say like this broker comes around and says, hey, look, you're approved for $1 million. You'll know what your payments look like as well. You'll know what your interest rate looks like as well. So it's not like you're going into something that's blind. Like you can budget towards it. You might be approved for $1 million, but maybe you don't want to stretch your limits, right? Maybe you just want to stay at like 300,000-400,000 because that's the monthly payment that you can afford, right? So that's kind of the pre-work that we do before we even go shopping for a house.
Okay, so that's like minimum and how long does that usually take, you would say?
Depends on the client of how long it takes for them to get all the documents in order.
Yeah.
If someone's organized, usually like within a week, we should have a turnaround.
Oh, wow, it's pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, like a broker that I work with, he can have your file turned around within 24 hours.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as long as you've got all of your ducks in a row.
Okay.
Right. So once we know what number you're approved for, we go shopping. We will find you a house. Right. Once you're in love with the house and you want to move forward with it, then we write the offer. In the offer, we put conditions in there. So those conditions are there to protect you. Right. So things like financing, getting an inspection done on the property, reviewing any kind of documents related to that property, strata or whatever it is. Right. So that window is about 10 days-ish, kind of. So once the seller accepts your offer, we have 10 days to do our due diligence process. And you don't pay any money. You don't do anything. That's just your process to make sure that this is the property that you want.
Okay. And do you go through that with someone?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We go through it. We send everything to the bank, make sure that your financing is still good. And then from that time, after that 10-day period, and you're still ready to move forward with the house, we just sign a subject removal that says, yes, I agree to buy this house. And then you give us a deposit and the deal's done. From that day to the day that you get keys in your hand it's all negotiable, right? So typically it's 6 weeks.
Okay, so that's like
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks is a pretty common.
Yeah, I would say it's
time.
average.
Okay.
I would say it's average. 6 to
So
8
if you
weeks.
want to move in May 1st, make sure you have the conversation about 2 months in advance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And also it goes down to like how long is it going to take you to find this house?
Yeah.
It might not be an overnight thing, right? It might take us like a month or two to find the perfect place for you.
Yeah, I like that because I think a lot of times, you don't, even me, man, I've never learned this stuff. Like nobody's ever taught me about how the process works.
I barely know. No, I'm just kidding.
And podcast is done. No. cut. But I just, I think it's cool for people to hear because buying a home isn't, I don't think you should take lightly.
No, you shouldn't.
Right? Because it is an investment and it's also, I would say it's a big investment.
100% it is.
Right?
It's a lot of money.
And I think my concern about buying is that I really like how you worded the fact of buying something like littler, like smaller, and then working your way up. Because to me, if I've never owned anything, to me going from 0 to $1 million, like that's a big jump.
Yeah.
But like if you say, if I go to like 300 or 400,000, and that sounds a little bit better to me.
And you can maintain it, right?
Yeah.
For like a year or two or whatever it is, and you're comfortable with it, right? It's essentially going to be like paying rent. You might pay a little bit more, right? But that thing is yours, at the end of the day, and it's growing in value. And then within a few years, before you know it, you're leveling up, right? I've got lots of clients like that. Lots of clients
that go like smaller like that, then move their way up.
Tons, right? We've started off in the 1-bedroom condo or the 2-bedroom condo, and it's the family that's getting in, or it's the single person that's moved in, and a few years go by, and the market's been on fire, right? So a lot of the people that bought 3-4 years ago, they've made a lot of money in their homes, right? They've made a lot of money in their condos, so they're ready to do that next step up.
Make the next step. How's the how is the interaction with you and other realtors when you're trying to make a deal?
Depends. Depends.
So, Bring me through like maybe a story or situations of like
I don't know
how.
if I want to. No, I was kidding. No, realtors are good to deal with, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would say
You
90.
okay, in any field you're gonna disagree or you're not gonna, see eye to eye with someone. Like that's very understanding. But like, is there a lot of negotiating on the deal of the home?
Yeah.
Oh, there is, eh?
Yeah.
I'm really curious on how this all goes. Like, so you have a client, they're like, I want this house for this.
Yeah.
You then call the real, like, how does that work?
So typically, like, let's say you like something, right? Like,
Yeah.
You say, I want to put an offer in on this. I have to do my research on the back end too. Like, if the place is listed at $1 million, anyone can ask anything they want for the home, but it's the market that dictates what it's actually worth, right? So I do my research, figure out what's sold in the area, how much things are sold for, and then figure out essentially what this home is worth. Is it worth $1 million, or is it worth less? And then you have to negotiate with the seller and the other realtor and help them understand that this home is not worth $1 million and it's really worth X amount, and find that balance.
How does that, like, what's this? Maybe this is how I'm wording it, but what's like the success rate of doing that? Like, how many times would you say you can get someone a lower price? Like, what is the average you would say?
I don't think there is an average. It depends what's happening in the market.
Okay, so it all depends on that.
Yeah.
But there must be like,
okay, for instance, when interest rates were like 2%,
yeah, okay.
there was no way that you're getting any kind of a deal that was less than their asking price. Everything was going over ask. Everything.
Because of how low the interest
Because
was.
of how low the interest rates were. I think there was a lot of homes that were underpriced in hopes of getting multiple offers or whatever it was. But in a balanced market, when things are, normal, yeah, there's some deals to be had.
What's the biggest deal shift that you've seen?
Like, what do you mean?
Like amount. Like somebody was like, I want this, and they like let's say it was like listed for $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the biggest range that they got a deal on? Like, what's that you've ever seen?
I've gotten like 80 grand off of a property once.
So that's what I don't know what I don't know what would be a good amount. Like, so 80 grand's a lot. Like,
that's a lot of money, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never, like I said, dude, I'm totally new.
80 grand is a lot of money.
No, it is, but I'm just saying, like, on a home, I don't know what. Like, I'm so new to this, so I don't know what a good deal. Like, I know what a good deal on fucking protein powder is. I don't know what a good deal on a home is. Like, I have no clue.
What's a good deal on protein powder?
If you can get like probably $30 off, like that's pretty good.
Big.
That's pretty big deal. $30.
Like protein powder is what, like a tub of it's
120 nowadays.
It's $90. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah,
right.
I would say that's a pretty good deal.
All right. Yeah. Same.
Okay, so it's the same. Okay, there's like, I feel like if you get anything really at the end of the day, but
it depends on the product. If it's a condo, you're not getting 80 grand off.
it has to be a big purchase.
You know what I mean? Like a condo, 5 to 10 grand kind of a thing.
Okay,
15 grand maybe.
Yeah, because it's low. It's not as much.
Yeah, and that's depending on if they are actually priced high, right? If they're priced on point, and they're priced to whatever the comparables are, then it usually sells for the asking price. But that's on me doing the research, right, to figure out if it's priced accurately or not.
And is that just because you were able to get 80 off? Is it because of the research you did? And
100%.
Oh, and how did you?
It's not just because like, hey, we're gonna ask for 80 grand off and like
over the best.
Like,
but no. What kind of? Okay, so you said like there's around homes that have sold in the area. Is there any other things that factor bringing the price down on a home?
I think the market condition itself is the big factor. Like for instance, take my street, right, in this cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Let's say 6 of the homes in this cul-de-sac sold for $1 million,
mm-hmm.
right? And then one guy decides to put his house up and he's listed it at 1.4. Why is that house worth 1.4?
Like, what is the added value to it?
Yeah. I think Buddy just wants to ask 1.4 for the sake of asking 1.4, right? I might have somebody that's interested in this home, but I got to do my research, right? Figure out what everything else is sold for. If the average sold price in this area is only $1 million, why am I even going to tell my client to write at 1.4 at that point? Right. So I disclose everything to my client and say, look, I understand that you like this house,
mm-hmm.
but at 1.4, you would be overpaying for it. If that's something that you want to do, then have at it, right? But Either let's try to negotiate this down to something that's acceptable, or we go find something else.
What are ways to make the value of your house go up?
Just renovations, right?
Okay, just
Like, yeah.
strictly renovating, making it look newer,
Yeah,
making more up to date.
100%.
Is there anything that what would you consider, kind of tying in this, but what would you consider a good client? Like what is your ideal like situation?
My ideal situation.
Yeah. So like, somebody comes to you, we've all had, and I'm gonna say you probably had some difficult clients. I've had some difficult clients over the years that
I had a couple.
make your job a lot harder than.
Actually, no, I take that back. I have not had a couple. I don't think I've had a whole lot of difficult clients.
Oh, it's good.
I have fun, man. I have lots of fun.
Well, I have fun too, but you know what I mean by that. Like there's certain people that you're like, I would do business with you 100 times and I like totally fine.
Yeah. I've had situations where, someone's called me and said, hey, I want to buy this house. And I say, okay. And I have a consultation with them for like 10 minutes. And this is somebody that I've known. They go, okay, write it up. I'm like, all right. And then
like, just like that.
Just like that. That's happened like twice. And I'm like, what just happened?
You're just like, this is awesome.
Well, of course. Yeah. You're going to be like, this is awesome. But then I'm like, what just happened? And it's like, oh, you just bought a house. And it's like, just out of like, that's happened to me twice. It's very, very, very
That's
rare.
very rare.
Very rare, man.
Very rare.
Very
Why
rare.
do you think that happens?
This person was just educated enough to make that decision.
So they were like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, their financing was in order. Everything was good.
Yeah.
These certain individuals were investors.
Yeah.
So they were, they're business savvy,
Yeah.
and they didn't really care, like, what the condition of the home was, because they were going to do rentals on it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, just do it. So
Are you allowed to say what the highest house you've ever sold is?
Yeah, there's no restriction to it.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was a confidential
no, it's not like a
thing.
top.
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I don't know. What is the highest price home that I've sold? I actually don't know. I think it
Are we
might
looking
be
at
like
like 3 million plus?
Yeah, I think I've sold something that's like close to 4.
Wow. What
Yeah.
is that process change because of the amount?
What do you mean? No, process is the same.
Process is the same.
Yeah, your due diligence is going to be a little bit more depending on
Just because of the size.
yeah,
of the
size
house.
and the type of house, what's on it, if it's acreage, if it's not, does it have a well, is it septic, or like all this different things. There's so many different variables to it, right?
Okay. And do you only sell here in Abbotsford? How
Everywhere.
far will you go?
I've gone 100-mile house.
Holy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've gone 100-mile house.
But it has to be worth it for you to go. Right?
Everything's worth it for me to go, right? But these clients in particular were they had sold here, they trusted me. And I even told them, I said, look, I don't know left from right in
100 mile.
in 100 mile. Like,
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
no idea. And they just flat out said to me, they said, look, like, we are only going to work with you and nobody else.
Like, figure it out, basically.
Yeah. And they're like,
Like, Jesse, figure it out. Try to get us, like, what you can.
yeah. So it was like, yeah. Then they called me and they said, look, we really like this house. I drove out there and we saw the house. Everything was good. Negotiated with the agent. And now they live there.
Are there some...
I've gone to Peachland as well.
Oh,
Peachland,
really?
Kelowna, Vernon. I did one in Vernon.
So what's the furthest? 100 mile? Is that the furthest you've ever gone? Have you gone to the island ever?
It's funny you say that. I actually have a listing coming out in Nanaimo.
Oh, whoa.
But I co-listed it.
Oh, cool.
So I've got another agent out there that I'm working with.
So what's
And
the
then she's
difference
gonna
with
take lead on it.
co-listing? What is like? What's...
Well, there's 2 agents then.
Oh, okay.
The, like, representing you
Why would you need to?
in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Like, my client, they only wanted to work with me. They didn't want to work with someone out there.
Okay.
And like, I can't take a ferry every single day over there.
Oh, so you bring someone in, kind of thing?
So
or-
yeah, I brought another agent on.
Oh, okay. That would be the only case then, really.
Yeah.
You probably don't. Do you ever do you said co-listing? That's what it's called?
Co-listing, yeah.
Would you ever do co-listing locally? Would there be a purpose for that?
Yes, there would
Oh,
be.
okay. Why?
Let's say someone's going through a divorce,
Okay.
right? Like, a husband
Okay, yeah,
husband
yeah.
wants their own representation, wife wants their own. I've been through 3 of those as well.
how those deals go usually.
Yeah, they're fine, man. You know what it is though? It's how do you react to the situation?
Like you
Yeah, you personally.
Okay,
like,
okay.
like how do you react to it? I think some people, they'll take someone else's energy and then
Like they play a side or something in a way, or
yeah, I guess, like, it's already a bitter situation as it is. This person's going through a divorce, and then
yeah, it's tough already. Like, and then they have to sell their home,
and they have to
or
sell their
whatever.
home, and then you have an individual that's kind of like unloading on you,
Mm.
and then you are kind of just like, whoa, I wasn't prepared for
Yeah, you
this
just weren't.
conversation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's just how you navigate that, right?
Mm.
Some people, they might get stressed out with it, but I mean,
Mhm.
for me, I don't know, man. I'm just easygoing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what it is? It's just, I don't know. I can't explain it to you.
Just your nature.
Just my nature.
What did you do before real estate?
I was a subcontractor for BC Hydro.
Did any of the skills?
It was through a company. I don't know if I'm allowed to even say the company's name or whatever, but yeah, whatever. It was
a company.
It was a company that had a contract with BC Hydro, and they did the smart meters that went on the side of your houses, right? So I did the replacements for that, and then down the line, it was like, if those meters were not communicating back with the network, I had to go figure out why I wasn't doing it.
So is there a lot of customer service with that?
No, it was, you're just kind of like on your own.
So for the first year of real estate, was that hard for you?
Very.
Why?
Real estate's expensive, man. It's a very, very, very expensive business.
Like,
very expensive.
You have a lot of expenses? What do you mean?
100%, yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, what? Like, take me through that. What do you mean by expensive?
So, like, signage, right?
Yeah.
If you have signage, if you have, like, the marketing aspect of it, getting your documents and just all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
Like we have so many expensive, your office fees, and driving around all the time, like it's expensive, right?
Well, because there's probably no like set hours really either.
No.
Like you're not really like, oh, I spent 12 hours on Susie's house and 2 hours on whatever's house. Like it's
all different.
So there's no really like value of the hour because it can be so dependent individual, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to break it down into hours, like I've worked with clients for 3-4 years before they've done something.
Like just trying to get.
Yeah, I've literally had buyers for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And it's, you're out every weekend or every other.
Yeah,
weekend,
trying to find them something.
And then, you don't get paid for that time. Right. That is your time. That's your efforts and everything that you're just not being compensated for. Right. Or there's some that we might only look for a month and we found something. So I think every situation is just a little bit different.
It's interesting because as someone who has never, I don't own.
But that's the same with yours though, with what you do. Like, you're technically like when you're doing a consult with a client, well, I don't know, is it per hour basis or is it? It's kind of similar, no?
Yeah, there's hours. There's also two like structures of, you're gonna have certain people that, if you're doing like a bi-weekly or a weekly kind of, you're gonna have a set price.
Exactly, yeah.
But there's no guidelines of like, I'm going to bill you for 12 hours. Like, you are only available to 12 hours in this week. You could technically message me 100 times if you really wanted to. I haven't had that happen yet, but it's the same. It could be the same scenario. Yeah. I guess I think for me, the reason why I have never thought of it like yours, and I'm understanding a little bit better now, is it's not like I see someone like once and then 10 years later I see them once, kind of like, not that I'm saying you're seeing them once, but usually it's like an income that's coming in on a weekly or a monthly basis, where yours, like I was saying, it's like a big investment at once. And then it's usually like waits, because I don't know how that works. Is there like ways of for realtors or anything to, I guess, like, do you guys do anything you don't have like weekly payments or anything like that.
I
Like
wish.
consult.
I
Like
wish.
no, there's nothing like that.
Like
right?
I sold you this house now. It's like $100
Yeah, the console.
$100 a week, right?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
no, there's not.
Yeah,
there's
there's
none of
nothing
that.
like that, right?
No.
So for you guys, it's like you have to have your minimum homes that you want to sell in a year or whatever. I don't. How do you do that? Like, how do you figure that out? Like, you just figure out like how many homes that I need to sell in this year to make my living, or like how do you go about that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's different. I think. I mean, not not only with real estate.
Yeah.
I think it's with any business.
Yeah.
You have to do like business planning, right? And you have to set goals and targets of like what it is, like, or not even how much you want to make, but like what is your goal?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's your financial picture? And then you just got to work towards it.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, for me, we sit down I want to say every quarter, maybe like every 6 months kind of a thing. And we figure out, okay, well, what do our expenses look like? And how much do I actually need for my business to survive and keep moving forward? So it's all based on that.
Do you ever say no to people?
Yes.
Why?
How do I say it?
Because they're difficult.
To a certain degree.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Unrealistic, rude,
Yeah.
right? Like they'll
Don't align with maybe
maybe don't align with my values or whatever it is, or they're they're just very rude. They're just not people that you can easily get along with, and it's just
that you don't jive with them, and you don't think you could help them in a way.
No, because they wouldn't want to see it any other way but their way, right?
Okay.
They don't want to, like for instance, let's say somebody comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, it's 5 bedrooms, has a backyard, the whole thing, white picket fence, but their budget is only like for a 1-bedroom condo. How do I
Yeah, you're not going to sell them the dream that you can do that for that purpose.
Yeah. It's
because you're not saying
I'm
true
not
to
like,
yourself.
Yeah, I'm not giving them the false hope either, right? I'm not going
Yeah.
to feed into it. And if I say, hey, listen, like, based on your finances, this is what it is, and they want to argue with you about it, I'm sorry, right? Like what are we supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, it must be tough because you probably have a lot of times, probably all the time, but a lot of times people are like, I want this, but you're like, you can't.
Yeah.
Like you can legit can't afford it right now. But I feel like that would be hard to say.
Last week there was somebody that called me over to their house and said, hey, how much is our home worth? Yeah. And I told them exactly what it was worth. And this person said, no, I want you to list my house at like a ridiculous number. And I was like, I'm sorry, like
it isn't worth that.
Like there's maybe someone out there that will list it for that number, but me personally, I'm not going to. Like, this is what the market's dictating. This is how much your home is worth. If you want 400 grand above
what it's worth,
like what do you want me to do?
Well, because then you also build a name that you overprice things.
Yeah.
Which you probably don't want people.
But also what a lot of people don't understand is at the end of the day, we're marketing that property.
That's what I'm saying. So if like you are always like if other realtors also know that that's probably not what it's worth.
Yeah.
And you advertise it for $400,000 more, like that also, in my opinion, wouldn't look good long term either.
It doesn't look good long term because then the property sits. But then now me personally, it doesn't cost the seller to list with you. I'm using my own money to market that property.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So
like website, social media, whatever.
Like pretty much like any kind of advertising we're doing for that property, that's all coming out of the realtor's pocket. Everything.
How much is what would you relatively spend on advertising for one person?
It's
time maybe. It's not
it's
amount,
hit and miss,
but
right? But like $2,000 probably, like on a
so that's a pretty average, like
you know what, there really is no average,
okay.
I would say.
Okay.
Right. There's no average, but like, yeah, typically for me, at least for every listing that I do, it's about $2,000. So I do a lot of stuff like online, then it's the pictures, the floor plans, the certain ads that I take out, and just other certain things that I'm doing. Yeah. But typically it's about $2,000. So if somebody comes around and says, hey, list my home, now I'm spending $2,000 on your home to sit on the market.
Yeah, you're now spending money out of your pocket, knowing deep down it will not sell at that price.
Yeah, and this person knows that it won't sell either, but they just
want their house.
They just want their house to be on there.
Do you
Those
think
are the type of people I'll say no to, right?
Do you think those people do that because they want essentially the negotiation to go down so they maybe get more money?
They do, actually, yeah.
That's probably why, right?
They do, but I always thought
it doesn't work.
No.
Like rare, maybe a like rare case it might, but
maybe, but not really. I understand if it was like a little bit overpriced, but if it's something that's completely.
Do you wanna name drop some realtors that you like working with?
Meet Manny for sure.
Why Manny? Okay, I love
Manny, man.
I don't have Manny. I've never had Manny on the pod. I
Manny.
haven't had him on the pocket. Maybe I'll have a conversation with him. But like, what makes Manny somebody? Well, I know Manny personally. I know why, but I also want like business wise. I've never really dealt with him business wise. Like I know
he's very easy to get along with, man.
Okay.
He's very easy to get along with, and you know what? One thing I really, really respect about him. When you have a conversation with him, he always just gives you like positive
feedback.
Yeah. He always encourages you to do better, which is I like that.
So what would what would that look like? Like what would you do a deal? Like he send you someone, you send him? Like what is that? How do you work with another realtor like that?
In like how? I don't understand.
If somebody's like wanting to buy a home or sell a home, because I asked like who's a really good real estate agent to work with, right? So it's like, how do you both benefit from working with each other?
You have to be cordial with one another. I think it's like, I guess it's different, right? Because if I have a property that's listed or he has a property that's listed, I'm bringing a buyer, and if we're both going to be at each other's heads, I guess it's going to make the whole thing very difficult, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you're cordial with one another, it definitely makes everything a lot easier.
Yeah,
it makes negotiations a lot easier.
Is there a benefit from like, what would you say is the benefit of making good friends with other realtors around the Fraser Valley?
I guess the benefit of it is when it comes time to like negotiating, and it comes time to, let's say, like a multiple offer situation where there's like 6 offers on one property. If the agent on the other end has dealt with you before and it's been a negative interaction, they're automatically going to assume like, okay, this person's extremely difficult to deal with. And the type of person that they're bringing to our property, it never pans out, or, whatever it is. But if it's, if they have worked with someone before or they've heard really good things about you, then you're a little bit easier to trust, right?
So almost like your competition, but like your friends at the same time.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's kind of
it's a weird,
that is a very weird, yeah, because I don't really, well, I guess it may be like trainers at our like location, but like trainers usually it would be like, I don't feel like I'm competing, but at the same time, I know what you mean. Like they work for us, but they're also, like I also do the same thing as them.
Yeah.
It's a weird, like, I don't know how to explain it.
I can't explain it either, right? It's just kind of like one of those things of like, it should be healthy competition, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be, I don't know. It should just be healthy competition, right? But it is competition at the end of the day.
Have you ever heard of real estate agents doing like a referral? Like if you refer this person, you get like, what does that usually look like?
Like if
let's say I referred a buddy to you.
Yeah.
And you sold the home. Like, is there like, do you know how like when you sell a car sometimes
give you a handshake, a pat on the back, like Jeremy, I take you over a beer, and I steak dinner.
And there we go.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's not like it's
like sometimes if you like buy a car or whatever and you refer a friend, they give you like $100. Like, is that money? Is that common?
Jeremy, bring me a client. I'll give you $100.
Is that a pretty? Yeah.
No, there's no thing that's common, man. It's
okay.
Yeah, there's no like set thing that this is what you do. It's whatever your business model is. It's whatever your business model is.
So this might be. Let me know if you can't answer this question. But
I was gonna say again, answer.
what is a percentage?
Can't answer it.
You can?
I don't even know what you asked me.
I think you already knew what I was going to ask. I was like, damn, this guy's good.
No.
What is a percentage that is made on a home for a realtor?
It's different.
What's an average?
There is no average. There's no.
Okay, so why does it change? Like, okay, let's say a home. Let's like make it really easy. $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you base what you make on that $1 million on that home?
It's a seller that always pays the end, I guess, the fee, but there is no amount. There's no set amount. There's no rule for it, or there's no nothing, right? So it's.
How do you come to agreement with that though?
It's between the seller and the agent.
So you guys just negotiate a price?
Yeah, pretty much.
So like, hey, this house was $1 million. Like, okay, role play here. Let's say I buy a house for $1 million, and I have to pay you at the end of the day.
Okay.
I'm not a good friend. I'm not a family member. You're not trying to give me a deal. Like I come and
I don't know if I can answer that.
Oh,
I don't
you
know
can?
because it's all different. I don't know.
Oh.
There's like really no set amount, man.
Okay.
There is no set amount.
Well, because that's what I'm trying to understand, because I think a lot of people don't understand how actually the money is made. Like, I think, you know what I mean? Like, if I didn't know you or I didn't know other real estate, I wouldn't know really the ins and outs of it. But
yeah,
for the average person, it's just like, oh, you just sell the house and then you make money. Like, they don't, you've heard that. And I know you've heard that before.
Yeah.
There's so much that's what I'm trying to like make like.
There is a there is a percentage that you make on the home, right? So
Okay.
all of that gets negotiated before when you take that listing on.
Okay.
But to the other end of that, is when we do get paid, we have to pay our brokerage fees, right? So a lot of that goes to there. We have to pay our taxes, which goes to there. And then we have to pay the marketing costs, which goes to there. So by the end of it, when it's all said and done, what you're left with is not what people assume that it is. Like, it's everything is different. Every price point and every property is different of what you get paid.
Have you done it for free?
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. Yeah.
Is there not like is a family, a friend? Like, what's the?
Both. I did it for free, actually, on more than one occasion, like way more than one occasion. Like, there was one, and it was somebody was buying, and they wanted to buy their friend's property or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I actually paid money out of my pocket to make sure that deal happened.
Oh shit!
And I did it for free.
Just, you felt like that was
Goodwill.
Yeah. So that is a possibility sometimes.
Depends, man. A lot of people won't do that, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it's case by case, but yeah, I've done quite a few deals.
You done a lot of stuff with your family?
One or two family members, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that? Is it hard?
It is.
I was gonna say it's probably like
it's very difficult.
I actually kind of want to. So would you say, if you have a real, like, would you say to go to a family member if they're a real estate agent? Like, would you advise someone to do that? Like, honestly?
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. But do you find it would be more challenging if they went to, like, let's say someone else, like a friend or something? Like, where do you see the challenge with it?
The challenge with it is maybe the family member might cross some lines that they're probably not supposed to. Like, you know what I mean? Like
call you on absurd hours.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Just because they're your family, they can call you at midnight asking for an update on their house. Right.
Yeah. And you're like,
bro, let me sleep.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the challenge of it. Or if the property doesn't sell, or if we didn't get like a good price for the home or whatever it is, and that might put a bit of a riff in the relationship, because there's money involved, right? It's not it's not little bits of money. It's a lot of money that's at stake, right? So I think that's the challenge. That's definitely the challenge.
Well, yeah, and it's not always the,
like, if there's a deal that goes sideways and it's with your family member.
Yeah, it's gonna stay with you.
It's gonna stay with you, man,
Yeah,
and that's gonna tarnish a relationship that that was once good and now and now it's not, right?
I'm gonna pivot a little bit because we're talking about family, but I want to talk about your family a little
Okay,
bit.
cool.
How's your mindset as a dad changed now that you have a daughter?
It's changed quite a bit, actually. You look at life a lot different because now you don't just think about yourself.
Yeah.
Now you have somebody that depends on you and that you think of that person. So I think your mind changes quite a bit.
Has your business changed because of it?
Yeah, I think so.
In what ways?
I think, I don't know. I think you just approach things differently, right? Because now I work a lot more with families.
Yeah.
And it's just, I can maybe be a little bit more relatable now as well with people that have kids, right? And I understand that it's important to have like a good school nearby or parks nearby, or have enough space for your family, right? So I understand that part of it now a lot better.
So when somebody's like, "Hey, I'm looking for this home or whatever," like you can, with a family,
Now I can
understand it.
Now I can be a little bit more
better.
relatable to that as well, right? Because I understand.
Interesting.
It's different, right? Like when you're either a single person or you don't have any kids or whatever it is, your thought process is totally different because you're just thinking about yourself essentially. Not that this is a bad thing or anything, but it's just you. That's it.
Well, I can imagine too that, you probably try to also shift your time to be able to spend more time with her too, right?
100%, man. You try, right? Like I'm guilty of this as well. Like there's times where it's like I'm gone from the morning to nighttime.
Yeah.
Like really there is, and you miss out on everything. And I think that's the hardest part.
But you would say, like, with this kind of job though, you have more flexibility than you have before, or what's
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. There's days where it's like slow and I definitely have that flexibility. But man, there's days where like I said, I'll leave in the morning and I don't get back until nighttime. And then I miss everything. Like last week, for instance, like my wife and my daughter, they were out. There was an event that was happening in Surrey. I missed the entire day. Right. So
just because you had to go do
I work. Right.
Yeah. What does a busy month look like for you, and what does a slow month look like for you?
Well, slow month is like not going anywhere, right? Like I'm sitting downstairs in my office,
just
twiddling my thumb, right?
Just
like praying to God, like, hey, where is this next deal gonna come from?
So like, okay, I actually, I like the direction of this because you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs. What are you gonna do? Like, what do you do?
Man, call.
Like, who do you call though? You call past clients, you call randos,
everybody.
You call like...
Yeah, so everybody. So I mean,
like where would you start? You're like sitting there, you're like shitting your pants. You need like something. Like, what are you doing first?
Calling my clients, man. Calling my past clients, seeing if there's anything going on.
Yeah.
Calling any kind of leads that I might have, like someone that's registered on my website or whatever. Connecting with people.
Yeah. Okay.
Just connecting, right? Going on, taking someone out for lunch and just chatting,
just having a conversation.
If you're not out there having conversations with people, why should someone call you?
So what do you do to go do that? Like, where do you go to go have conversations?
Cactus. No, just kidding.
Just kidding. Hey everyone, find Jesse at Cactus every Saturday night.
Every Friday is 2 to 5. I'll be there. Yeah. But just know that is a business meeting. Yeah, I might be having a drink or two, but it's definitely business.
All business.
It's all
baby.
business. It's all business. No, but in all honesty, it's just talking to your clients, right? And then like for instance, I'll just give one of my clients a call and say, hey, how are things going? How are you enjoying the house? Anything I could do for you? And like genuinely ask, right? Like genuinely, is there something that I could be doing for you?
Like I'm looking to sell something right now.
Yeah.
Tell me everything. Right?
Just be the person that wants to help.
But is there anything you can do? Like, I know you're part of some like community groups and stuff like that. Like, what do those entail? Like, why are you part of those? What do they like do for you as your business, but you as a person as well?
It gets me out there, man. Like it gets me out. It gets me in front of individuals that I wouldn't normally be in front of. Right. And it's just connecting with people and just having conversations, and hopefully that they remember you and that they can refer you to somebody else. So that's literally all it is.
Why would a real estate agent refer you to like another, like let's say you are trying to sell a home, but you don't, would it be because you don't think you're the best suit for that person, then you refer them to someone else? Or
Yeah,
like
for
what would
sure.
that, or if it's in a different town
Yeah,
or
all of the above.
okay.
So I mean, for instance, like 100 Mile House, I told
Yeah.
my clients, I was like, look, I don't know, I can refer you someone out there,
Yeah.
right?
And then you just call a local person or
Yeah, you know what, with a lot of these events and stuff that I go to,
yeah.
and a lot of these real estate related events, you're bound to run into other people from other areas.
Okay.
So with a lot of these community groups that that I'm involved in,
Yeah.
you know, you run into a realtor, like let's say that's from Calgary or Kelowna or, you know, whatever it is, and then you can always refer to that person as long as you trust them, right? And
Yeah,
you're
you build
comfortable
a
with everything,
connection
yeah.
with them, right?
Because at the end of the day, the person that you are referring, if they do a shit job, that's your name that's on the line,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to refer shit people. If that,
Well, yeah,
I don't
for
want that
sure.
to sound rude or anything, but like,
No, that's not rude. You also, as someone who value the direction or that's just like me. Like I'm not going to refer them to a trainer that I think is going to do a shitty job.
100%, right?
Then I'm like, then the person's going to come back to me like,
yeah.
why would you ever refer me to
Yeah,
this person?
yeah, straight up.
Right? Because it's like, so I get it, man. Let's shift a little bit to people that are current home buyers or that already have a home right now.
It's not a home buyer questions, eh?
Well, you're a real estate agent.
Try to be one.
He's kind of one, guys.
Kind of one.
No, we're kidding. Okay. I just because, you know, I the reason for these podcasts too is, you know, to get questions asked and things that are going to be of value to people that don't usually get these questions to be answered.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's super, I can go look up like, what's the purpose of a real estate agent on Google?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just going to be some random forum of whatever, where it's like, if I can actually talk to someone and get the real answers from someone, I find it's going to be more genuine than a Google search.
I've never like been in a podcast or anything like this. So it's kind of like, oh man, like, how do you like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, how do you word things, or how do you say it, right? Like properly. I don't know.
And the point too of the whole aspect of like another big thing why I wanted you to talk about is because there is so much fear about buying a home right now.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a fear thing.
I think it is a fear thing.
Because it's
100%.
I think it's just because, you know, all I hear personally from people are like, oh, the interest rates are so high and this and that. And then, and I'm like, okay, but
like, so what?
Well, and, but also too, like, are you just listening to the news? Like
I think there's a lot of fear mongering. Like, most definitely. Yes. Interest rates are high.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they are.
Yeah. That's
right?
obvious. Yeah.
But when interest rates go up, the prices of homes generally come down.
Yeah.
Generally. Right. So it's kind of like, it just goes back to it. You have to be real with your own personal financial situation. That's what it really boils down to. It really does. Right. Rather than, oh, the rates are up, the rates are down, the rates are whatever. Like, there's no right or wrong time. You know, it's just your own personal thing.
Personal growth.
Right.
And personal understanding.
100%. Like when we bought this house, the rates were on the rise. And people were like, "Oh, you're buying now?" I'm like, "Yeah, it makes sense for us."
Yeah, financially.
Financially, it just made sense at that time, at that rate. Right. One thing, also one thing is this, right? Let's say rates are low. The prices for homes is going to be a lot higher as well. That means the more down payment you're going to have to put down on a home too. Right. But when rates are high, the prices of homes generally come down, and then you're putting less down. And as long as you can support to hold that property for a long period of time, rates will eventually come down, and then the value of your home is going to go up too.
Yeah.
So it's just, can you afford to make that move?
Yeah. And what is your take on, you know, I've heard people like, there's no point in renting, or there's you should be owning, you should be paying yourself. Like, do you think it's a waste of time to rent?
No, I don't think it's a waste of time to rent, right? Depends on your financial situation.
Well,
If
that's what I'm
you've got
saying, but like, I don't know if you're biased to that of because you're real estate, but I've talked to some real estate agents and they kind of like, you should always be like paying yourself basically if you're paying your mortgage. But I'm like, what happens if what happens if you
yeah,
can't pay your mortgage?
man, I know real estate agents that own homes, but they rent. Like, you know what I mean? Like they own property.
And they rent out to someone.
Yeah, they own property that they rent out to somebody,
Yeah.
and they themselves rent.
So what would be the purpose of that?
I don't know, sometimes a lower payment, sometimes depending on the type of property or whatever it is. Sometimes liability, I don't know, sometimes necessity. It could be it could be anything.
Well, because my thing is like if I'm buying, let's say a $400,000 condo,
Mhm.
and I put down, you said it was 5%,
Minimum.
minimum 5, so I'm putting down 20, right? Is that 5%? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's
Let's
10.
go with it.
10% would be 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5% would be 20.
Yeah.
I think our math is good there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So if I put 20,
Edit.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 20.
Yeah. I don't have my calculator. I
10
don't know, man.
Whatever. Anyways, how long? Like, what would my payments look like?
Depends on the interest rate.
5%.
Grab a calculator. I have no idea.
And is that? But like, is there a penalty if I want to pay more of it off?
Yes.
Oh, there is a penalty.
Yeah. So you can't
Shit.
you wouldn't be able to make like a lump sum payment every month, like towards it. So there's like they do put a cap on it, right? So like every year you can throw down a lump sum.
And no without penalty.
Yeah, without penalty.
Okay, so there is an option.
There is an option to do it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's at refinance. Sometimes it's every year or whatever it is.
And
It
there's
just
like
depends. Every single bank and their product is going to be different.
You said you work with a broker, right?
I do, yeah.
Is it a little bit different than like? Is it a more of a
Yeah. It's a mortgage broker. So
Okay.
this person
from a bank?
No,
Are they
so they work with a lending center, right? So
Okay,
there's different ones that are out there. When you go to a traditional bank, is if you've got a really good relationship with them, your credit's really good and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy for you to get your financing. For some of the first-time home buyers that are out there, you have to get creative with how financing looks like.
Mm.
When it comes to a traditional bank, right? CIBC, RBC, TD, or whatever, they're only going to shop within their own product. When it comes to a mortgage broker, they might be able to guide you with a different solution, right? That just meets your picture a little bit better.
Is if I'm going with like a broker, you said credit and stuff, like is credit going to all depend on what you're going to be able to get? Or are there other factors?
Other factors, man, like credit, how much debt you carry, and how much money you make is all factors.
So do you ask those people that question? Like, are you the one that,
Yeah,
hey,
of
what's your
course.
credit kind of thing?
That's more so going to be the mortgage broker. But when
Okay.
I'm initially having the conversation with someone, yes, I do ask those questions.
So what would be considered a good credit?
Anything like over 650-ish around
Okay.
there. Like even with bad credit, you can buy
Ones are
something.
like 800.
That's like really good credit, man.
Okay.
800's like primo.
Okay.
Yeah. You 800? Yeah, you there?
I'm just
let me ask you, right? What does your credit look like?
I'll talk to you off the camera. But I'm just curious because I've had conversations with people about credit and I don't really know much about.
I think as as just people in general, we're all so scared of talking about our own finances. Everyone's nervous about talking and like opening up about like what your finances look like.
I always have been, and then
Me too, bro.
I think recently, well, not I think I know recently when I incorporated, I had to have a conversation with my accountant, and like I just like,
But
no, I just like I threw everything on the table,
Yeah.
and I was just like, this felt good.
It does, right? It does.
Because it's not to be cocky or it's not to like, but you just get to a
No,
point
no,
where
no.
you get to a point where you're just like,
you have to be real with yourself, man.
Yeah.
You just have to be real with it. I remember when I got married, yeah, actually, I think the conversation happened after I got married. My wife's like, where are you spending your money? Like, where is your money going? I was like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean you don't know? Right? Where is it going? And she sat me down and she goes, pull up your credit card statement.
How much were you spending, Jesse?
I don't know. I was spending a lot of money, man. Just on dumb stuff.
Like what?
Dumb stuff.
Like dinners out.
Dinners out, man. You're just blowing it, right? Like, shots on me. And you're like,
the whole
bar shots, right? This is like business meeting right off. Right? So,
it's all good, everyone. I got you. It's on my business.
You can't write off booze, right? So it's like, so I was screwed anyways. But you're doing these stupid things, right? And it's just, and she goes, where are you spending it? And she goes, I don't even care. She goes, I don't care. Like it's your money.
Yeah, it's your money.
It's your money.
Yeah.
But then we went down like the list, and then she had a calculator, and like sure enough, she's doing this. My heart's like
you're
beating.
shitting your pants,
right?
Man.
Oh yeah. I'm like, oh man, like because I wasn't real with it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what she was gonna think of me at the time either. And then sure enough, like she shows me the number. I'm like, holy shit.
And that was like for a month?
Yeah, that was like 1 month. And I just looked at it and I was like, are you
like, this is what I spent?
Kidding me? Like, that's what I spent?
Well, I guess too depends on what you were spending it on too.
Dumb stuff, bro. I'm telling you.
But I'm saying like let's say you look at, let's say you spent $10,000 a month, right? But it was on like investment or
of course, bro.
Right.
That's gonna be different.
Also a big.
That's gonna be
but if it's
that's different. But I mean, if you're lighting up the bar every month or whatever it is, then it's completely different. But I think that's what shifted my perspective quite a bit.
Was like you saw it,
and I saw the number, because it's so easy when you're out and you're having a good time to swipe your card.
Oh yeah,
right. You just
tap
swipe
or whatever,
sign here, 20%
Yeah.
tip, right? And you're just out the door feeling like the man, and then
you go home.
And you're like, then that panic sets in of like, oh man, I just spent so much money, whatever, blah blah. Then you're sitting there counting of like, okay, I got this many days until my next.
How many times do you look at your bank account each day
now?
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe like, I don't know,
bro. I check it 10 times a day.
Really?
Sign in and out 10 times a day.
Last time I checked was maybe...
I actually was talking to someone else about this too.
A week and a half ago, I checked. A week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
Fuck, dude, what?
Yeah.
Damn, man. I was talking with someone else, same thing. Like, I probably sign into it like 3 or 4 times a day on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
What changes in like,
dude,
a
actually,
2-hour period?
Okay, once, I'm actually so thankful I do it, because once my credit card got hacked.
Mine did too.
And I was like, thank goodness that I do this.
Yeah, mine got
taken. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know. And I'll talk to you about it after, but...
No, let's talk about it now.
No, because then I have to tell you about, like... There's some stuff I would rather not.
Okay.
Like, I would rather just tell you more, like, this is why kind of thing.
Okay.
But...
Well, we'll talk after.
Maybe if somebody wants to message me and I'll tell them, but...
No.
But anyway, it just... For me, I think of it as, like... If I...
Like somebody stole my card like 10 minutes ago.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Or if I'm on top of things, it won't catch up on me. Because I've had so many... And I also grew up with, like a single mom and things like that. So like money wasn't always a...
Yeah.
It wasn't always available, let's say. I'll say it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah. And I think there's a little bit of that still follows me. But I also think too, I've heard like horror stories of like people... I don't know, forgetting to pay their bill, and now they're paying 25% interest.
Pop in there.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I've been there. Penalties, the whole thing. Still happens every now and then. I forget.
Because you forget, right? Yeah, I think that's why I do it. So I was like, I don't want to forget.
Yeah, it's just forget.
Yeah,
I remember like we have this condo, and the strata fees went up. And I've got them on like auto payments.
Oh, and it changed, and
I had no idea.
Oh no!
And like that particular account, I rarely check, and now I check every month. But if it had been like 6 months,
for 6 months it happened.
Yeah, and like these payments were coming out, and every month the payment was coming out, it was always like $150 short.
And you're like, what?
I had no idea, right? And then all of a sudden I got a letter in the mail from Strata saying, hey, you actually owe us like a few $100 or whatever it was. And I'm like, ooh, I was like, what the hell happened here? I was like, when the hell did Strata fees go up? I had no idea. No
They
idea.
didn't tell you?
I'm sure they did, but like,
So what happened then?
I mean, no, they didn't tell me. They didn't. I had to pay it, right? And then like,
Was there interest?
it was, yeah, there was no big deal, but like,
okay.
but I had to pay it.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of interest on it, and there was penalty on it. And then I like made the payment with the penalty, but I made that payment late too. And then the next month rolled around, and I got dinged another $20, and I'm like, oh, there's no winning, right?
It's just gonna keep going. But I guess those like, okay, that stuff's a little bit different than you like racking out your credit card. And,
oh,
like,
yeah, that's. I mean, those are good problems. You know what I mean? Like that's a.
Yeah, that's not like you're living like your
$10,000
limit is gone.
I've been there too. Yeah, I've been there too.
How do you work your way back up from that?
It was rough, man.
I actually think this is a good conversation for people.
In my teens, I did that, and that's what I mean, right? Like you just aren't real with it. And easy, just swipe it, man. Just light it up, and you forget, and then your limit's maxed out, and you're calling your credit card company for change your limit or to do whatever. Man, it took me a while. I remember that I was like 19, and I just racked it right up. That was bad, and like the payments that you would make, it wouldn't even cover the interest. You know what I mean? Like that's how bad it was. It was fun times.
And you just slowly chipped away at paying
it off? Yeah, I slowly chipped away at it, and you paid it off, and then I was like, okay, never making that mistake again.
Would you say, okay, if somebody's trying to buy a home, would you say try to have all your other debt paid off before 100%, you buy a home?
100%.
Oh, interesting. Is that so? That would be like a little tip. What's your little tips, I guess, to like give people?
Yeah, pay off your credit cards.
Okay.
100% pay off your credit cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, pay off your credit cards, any kind of outstanding like collections debts or like whatever you got going on, car debts, right? Car payments.
Like that would be the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start.
100% best starting point. But you got to work with a good team, man, right? So you got to work with a good broker, and you got to say, hey, look, this is what everything looks like. And that broker is going to turn around and say, hey, if you pay off your credit card, you'll be good. And you can get approved for a little bit more. Or maybe it's not worth it to pay off the full amount. Maybe it's only worth it to pay off the half or whatever, right? Like you can get super creative with it, but you got to be honest with what your finances are.
Do you know much about using your RSPs as a first-time home buyer to buy?
Yeah,
what's so what's the like?
Ooh, don't put me on the spot because I'm trying to remember now. What's the limit?
No, maybe not limit. I don't need but like, what's the situation? How does that work? Is there a penalty? Like, what's the?
You have to pay back the RRSP, so you have a certain amount of time to pay it off. I can't. You put me on the spot because it's like, I think it's 10 years, maybe 10 years to repay it.
So like, let's say you use 50,000 of your RSP, you have to pay that.
To pay it back.
Okay.
You have to replenish that account within a certain amount of time. Yeah.
So do you advise people to do that? Like, would that be
if that's where all your money is?
Okay.
But then you got to make sure that you're putting that money back too, right?
Yeah.
That you continue saving.
I'm just trying to think of even like where you would start. Like, would you have someone just collect? Like when you bought your first home, where were you saving your money to?
Mattress. No, just kidding. cash only. Just in a regular savings account. I just had it in a regular.
No TFSA. No like.
No, I just had it in a regular stupid. But.
Oh, okay. I want to hear why. Where would you put it?
Well, I could have put it in like a
tax-free savings?
Tax-free savings account.
Made some interest.
A high interest, whatever. I could have put it in like a GIC. I could have done whatever. I could have made so much more money just doing it that way, right? But
I see what you mean.
I just kept it in my bank account.
Would you have someone, I guess, if they were, let's say you're someone saving for TFSA and they have a good chunk of money in there, would you say I know you can't really advise it, but would it be a smart decision? I'm asking you more personally. Would it be a smart decision to totally like clear that TFSA or just take a chunk of it out?
Just take chunks, man. Take it as you need it.
Okay.
Like, what do you need it for?
Like buying a home. Like, let's say I want to put that 5% down, but I want to take it out of my TFSA.
I don't think there's any penalty. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a penalty to take it out of the. You can take it out. It's a tax-free savings account.
Yeah, but I'm saying like more on the fact of, would you, like, let's say your tax-free savings is you're going to be your retirement, basically. Like, you're saving it for you to be able to use that money. Would a home be something that you consider investment or a liability?
I personally consider it an investment.
Okay.
I do, because I mean, real estate always increases in value. Right, as long as you sell high, you're like you're all right.
Do you think it's considered, though? It can be considered a liability?
Yeah, most definitely.
In what cases?
I've seen it where people bought beyond their means and they couldn't support
their payments.
Couldn't support the payments, and then that money that they did have, they bought super high, and then they lost their shirts on the home. Right, I've seen a lot of that too.
Very interesting. I'm asking more questions for myself too. So
no,
but I think my questions also other people have thought of, but they just have never asked.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, I'm trying to ask questions that I would be curious about and ask questions and get them answered, that if I were to sit down with someone and have the opportunity to have like a consult, these would be something.
I think everyone's situation is different. Everyone's way of investing is different. You know, some people want to invest in crypto, or some people want to invest in, you know, your regular
stock market.
The stock market through the banks or whatever. There is no right or wrong way. And that's like I wholeheartedly believe that if you don't want to buy a house, don't buy a house. If you want to invest that somewhere else in the stock game, go right ahead, man. There's no magic trick to getting ahead, right? It's just whatever works best with what you have.
I like that.
It really is, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, I just feel like sometimes you look at things in life, especially with these like big investments, and at least for me, I get scared of the quote unquote debt that I'm having.
That's good debt though.
And that's how I'm like transitioning my mindset. But I think I don't know, maybe I'm just talking for someone my age, or people like buddies I've talked to. It's
like 19.
19 turning 20. Actually just turned 27.
Did you?
Yeah.
When I messaged you a couple days ago, on your birthday?
Yeah, 27.
April baby, right?
Yeah, April 22nd. Yeah.
Oh, you're old, man. You're old.
I think, you know what? By 30, I would want something. That's my goal.
I think like 27 is like when like life starts.
Dude, life started for me when I was 20.
For me, it was like 27. Like until until I actually got real with it and I actually started taking it seriously. I think I was about 26, 27.
Well, that was my big thing when I transitioned at the gym there. That's when I started when I was 20.
Oh yeah?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So like for me, it was just.
It's weird. Like, you'll transition so many different times. So like you'll transition like I want to say like 20, 27, and then when you have a kid, all that gets thrown out the window, and then it just resets.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. For me, the whole like getting to 30 would be cool, and if I had my own place. Actually, you know what? I have one more question. Last question, because then we'll end it off here. But
cool.
What's your take on pre-sale, or is it pre-sales? What is what they called? Pre-sales,
like the condos or whatever.
Yeah. What's your take on those?
They're not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad. Yeah, they're not bad.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit? Like,
are you
not? They're not your favorite.
Me personally, they're not my favorite.
Okay, why? I'm just curious. Like, I don't. I always like to hear different.
They're not like for me, they're not my favorite just because, first off, your money's tied up for a very long time.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years.
3 years, right? Yeah. So your deposit's going to be tied up for that amount of time. If you have this money sitting around, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. That's reason number one. Reason number two is I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen in 2-3 years time. The market might be really good, or the market might not be so good.
Yeah, so when you get your house, it might be worth less.
It might be worth less, right? Or it might be worth more. Like there's really no there's no predicting it, and I don't like that, me personally.
Is your price locked in when you get a pre-sale?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And because the interest rates are always changing as well, some banks will guarantee you the rate that you got approved for on spot.
Oh, interesting.
But some banks, they say, hey, 3 months before this project is done, we're going to reassess and figure out what things are looking like.
Oh, shit.
And if that project has dropped down in value, now the bank might turn around and say, hey, we can't fund you on this deal anymore. Like, you have to come up with a remainder of the amount.
Interesting.
So for me, it's I personally don't like it, but hey, if you like, if you've got the means for it, like, do it.
I'll do a just a little outro here.
There's so many people here right now.
Yeah, there's so many people. Holy,
so many people in the crowd.
We're actually put the silent in the background because there's so many people talking and cheering for us right now. So
well, when we do this, I always have to bring my people in, and it's a thing.
This is a transition. I had to get like patted down when I walked in today. Actually,
yeah.
Make sure I'm not good.
Off camera. This person over here.
Yeah.
yeah, you. Yeah, I wish you could just pan over there. There's nobody there. It's just us.
But yeah, no, I really wanted to just thank you, Jesse, man, for like Jesse, like even his cup here and everything, for letting us come to your house and take the time to chat about this. I always give like a little bit of a plug. You can plug yourself right now. You can tell everyone where they can find you if they're looking for a real estate agent, or if they just want to go see, your listings and stuff like that. So where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, you can search me up on Google, Jesse Gill Homes or Jesse Gill Realtor. I'll pop up. My website is livingfraservalley.com or jessegillhomes.com. I don't know, man. I don't even know if I provided any. Oh, Instagram. What is it? At Jesse Gill Homes.
Good.
And yeah, I don't know if I provided any kind of feedback or whatever. No, honestly, bro, like I just like to have fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm very just relaxed. Like when I work.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What makes other people feel relaxed though?
Yeah, I hope so.
Good.
I hope so. I hope it came across that way.
No, I actually, a lot of the questions I had, I was trying to base it off of like what I've also talked to people about over the years. And like, I just wanted to, this podcast was really just to make sure that I got across a message that people were having questions about that they maybe didn't feel comfortable asking. I
think that, like, in all honesty, like I was thinking about this, like the number one thing is you have to get real with your finances. Yeah. Like that thing that I was telling you about with me and my wife, and we sat down and it's like, oh man, that's where I'm spending my money. Like that's where it's going.
Yeah.
As long as you can be real with your finances, we can come up with a good plan to figure out when the right time is, because there is really no right or wrong time.
No, I like that. Well, thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it. And I just want to thank everyone for listening to episode 12 of the North Star podcast. And again, just go find Jesse if you have any other questions. And hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.